Welcome to the final episode in our three-part series on audio techniques. In the first episode, we covered the basics of different mics and their placement. In episode 2, we went over advanced techniques like dual system audio and setting levels. And in this episode, we'll cover post-production. If you do a good job of recording clean audio on set, you won't need to do much in post, but it always needs something because, unlike visuals, audio never comes out perfectly finished. There are thousands of tips and techniques here, and it could be its own series. In fact, it's an entire career path. But we only have a few minutes, so I'll cover the basics. The first step is to sync the audio and video. We covered that in episode 2, but here you'll see it in practice. I have video and audio clips here in Premiere, and I'll select them both. Then right-click and choose Multicam Sequence. I use timecode, but if you want to sync the audio between the camera and the audio recorder, you would choose that here. Hit OK, and you'll have a new multicam sequence with your audio and video linked. Remember, this is a multicam sequence, so it doesn't behave quite like regular sequences. To edit this one, you'll have to right-click it and choose Open in Timeline. Whether you have one camera or 10 on your subject, they should all be linked up with your audio here. My next step is to bring the audio into Adobe Audition and clean it up. You should do this now because it's a huge pain to do once you've already edited your content. To do this, go to Edit, Edit in Adobe Audition, and choose Sequence. I leave all those options default and hit OK. Once it's finished processing, our interview sequence is in Audition. You'll see I have 3 tracks here, the left and right tracks of my final mix and my boom mic. But your tracks will differ based on how you recorded your sound. I want to mute my first 2 and only use my boom in this. Now we go to the effects rack. This is a list of effects you can apply to each separate track. If we select our active track, then I'll go to the drop-down menu of presets, and I like the preset for radio announcer voice. That adds the following effects to our track: multiband compressor, parametric equalizer, and a hard limiter. Adjust any of these until it sounds right. I leave the compressor alone and tweak the equalizer. Monitors or viewfinders, just make sure it sounds full. Too much on the low end will make the vocals too boomy, and too much on the high end will give you those harsh high S's. They're large, bright, and adjustable. Then I'll draw down the gain setting to keep my audio from clipping. Add-on, these cameras are ready to go. And then, and finally, I'll go into the hard limiter and change the ceiling to -5 dB. The next thing I do is apply noise reduction. You can't do this by track, you have to do it to each individual clip. The fewer the tracks you have, the easier this is to do, which is why I try not to start and stop the audio once I'm in an interview. So first I double-click on the clip to open it. Now I need to get a noise print. We're basically pointing to a spot in the recording with just the background noise we want to remove. Let's find a quiet section by hitting the plus key to zoom in. Okay, here's one. Now highlight that portion and choose Effects, Noise Reduction, Capture Noise Print. Or you can just hit Shift-P on a Mac. Now select all, Command-A, and choose Effects, Noise Reduction. Play around with these settings until it sounds right. Too little noise reduction and you'll still hear that noise floor in the room. And you'll know if you're applying too much because your subject will start to sound like they're underwater. Hit OK. Now in this tab, go back to your original project. Your audio is cleaned up and sounding good, so let's bring it back into Premiere. To do this, go to File, Export, Export to Premiere Pro. You can either export each track separately as a stem, or mix it all down. Since I'm only using one track from this interview, I'm going to mix it down to a mono track. I'll hit Export, and it'll spend some time generating new audio files that will automatically link back into my Premiere project. I leave these options default and hit OK. Audition has created a new copy of my sequence and added my mix down as an additional track. I'll mute everything but my new track because it's the only one I want to use. Now you want to leave this sequence alone and instead create a normal sequence from it by dragging this multicam to the new item icon here. This new sequence is the one you'll edit, and the great thing about this workflow is all your audio is nested into your multicam sequence. No matter how much you edit down your new sequence, you can always go back and make changes to your audio track in your multicam, and those changes will automatically update over your entire edit sequence. In 3 episodes, we've gone through everything start to finish. From choosing the right mic, placing it correctly, recording clean audio, and prepping it in post. If you follow these steps, you'll make sure to get really professional audio on every shoot. Thanks for watching.